Have you ever felt like someone was just out to get you, always pushing back against everything you say or do, just for the fun of it? There's a story about a firefly that was being chased. The firefly flew around for a long time trying to escape until it found itself cornered and nearly caught. It then asked a snake to ask it 3 questions. The snake, knowing the firefly was trapped with no way out, agreed. The first question was whether the firefly was part of what the snake usually eats. The snake said no. Then, the firefly asked if it had done anything wrong to the snake. Again, the snake replied no. Finally, Firefly wanted to know why the snake wanted to catch him. The snake replied, "Because I can't stand seeing you shine. It doesn't matter what you do in life, how you treat others, or how successful you are in your job. There will always be people who are against you. We've all dealt with such people, whether it's a colleague with aggressive tendencies at university, friends, or even within our own families. By embracing a practical philosophy of Stoicism, you'll learn how to deal with those who envy the brilliance of others." Stoicism is seen as one of the most practical and profound ways of thinking, especially when it comes to dealing with conflicts. It teaches us to focus our energy and strength on the things we can control, while learning to accept the things we can't. If you don't stand your ground in life, others, especially those who don't care for you, will walk all over you. So being strong doesn't mean being passive or silently nursing a grudge. It's about having a solid stance and controlling your feelings, taking a moment to think before reacting. Stoicism is seen as one of the most practical and profound ways of thinking, especially when it comes to dealing with conflicts. It teaches us to focus our energy and strength on the things we can control, while learning to accept the things we can't. If you don't stand your ground in life, others, especially those who don't care for you, will walk all over you. So being strong doesn't mean being passive or silently nursing a grudge. It's about having a solid stance and controlling your feelings, taking a moment to think before reacting. First off, welcome. Feel at home as we dive into ancient concepts that teach us how to live with more wisdom and ease. If you find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Doing so helps us share this clarity with more people. Now, let's talk about how Stoicism can help you tackle your challenges without conflict. In this video, we'll cover 9 ways to do just that. Let's get started. First, ignore intentionally. There's no show without an audience, and being ignored can be one of the worst feelings. So, use this to your advantage. If you can, start intentionally ignoring those who declare themselves your enemies or who you don't like. This strategy, while simple, takes a lot of self-control because you're consciously choosing to stop paying attention to provocations, malicious jokes, actions, or even the presence of certain people. Understand that some people's power lies in stirring up emotional turmoil. People who get a kick out of provoking others thrive on your reactions. When you start ignoring them, you basically take away their power, showing that they don't affect your feelings or decisions. Their attempts to manipulate you become just that, attempts. Focus on what you can control instead of wasting your energy on negative distractions or spending hours thinking about how you could respond, get back at, or put that person down. Start using this space and time for what really matters. For those who provoke you, recognize the impact they have in your life, but remember, only you can decide how much influence each person has. You can choose not to feel like a victim. Instead of giving in to provocations, opt for wisdom and not getting involved. This choice also protects us from the harmful effects of resentment and anger, helping us build resilience and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Conflicts don't really exist. Rather, it's about perspective. You've chosen not to get stuck in an awkward situation created by someone else. By doing this, we become the architects of our own happiness and guardians of our inner peace. The second way to win is by using your head. Our second strategy for resolving conflicts is to be smarter than the other person, using creativity and the ability to come up with plans to understand the problem and find a solution without the need for a verbal showdown or direct argument. By acting this way, you take control. A Stoic example of how to win using clever strategies without resorting to physical force under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, Indians chose the path of peaceful protest, avoiding the use of violence. Gandhi organized peaceful marches, strikes, and urged people not to buy British goods, such as salt-breaking rules that allowed them to buy salt only from the British. These actions attracted worldwide attention, weakened British control over the Indian economy, or encouraged their withdrawal from India finally. 1947. India achieved its independence, and Gandhi showed the world the power of nonviolent resistance using peaceful strategies to achieve political and social goals. Just as we can act wisely in our conflicts, avoiding unnecessary risks, Gandhi was able to lead to India's victory over British dependence because of a macroscopic view of the whole situation. That is, he thought about the situation as a whole. What are Britain's weaknesses? What actions could force them to leave? How could it be done peacefully? And how to use your weaknesses as strength. Using the mind means learning to think macroscopically. If Gandhi had fought physically, it would have revealed physical and military unpreparedness and thousands would have died. But he turned his people's weaknesses into strength and used the mind to win. In the same way, you can use the mind instead of physical strength or ignorance. Winning with the mind is not only about having skills, but understanding what makes everyone act the way they do. One of the concepts of Stoic philosophy is the transformation of adversity into a path. In other words, instead of viewing your adversaries or enemies only with hostility, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and learning, truly as teachers on the path of life, because they test our limits, expose our weaknesses, reveal our vices, show us where we need to improve. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, who was the most powerful man in the world as Roman emperor, the best revenge is not to be like someone who harms us, instead of reacting with anger. Use these challenges to strengthen your resilience, wisdom, and virtues. When you are met with rudeness, being rude. In return, you also become impolite if you are disrespected, acting the same way. You also become someone who disrespects others. Exercise your tolerance, and above all, calmness, so that the obstacle becomes the way. Furthermore, Marcus Aurelius also advises us when we are tempted to criticize someone, stop and think about your own mistakes first, and ask yourself what mistake I have that is most similar to the one I am about to criticize. Sometimes we demand from what we cannot do. Such thinking brings humility and empathy. It also helps us to understand and appreciate the lessons that our own mistakes can teach us. Opponents, instead of harboring negative feelings or taking revenge on your enemies, be grateful for opportunities for growth that you would not have had otherwise. Change your view of these people as threats to perhaps personal growth and self-discovery, us, and picked what would happen to Claw without all the monster battles and challenges. He would be just an ordinary man who no one would remember. It was his enemies who made him a great legend. When you do, this completely changes the dynamics of your relationship with these people. They may continue to dislike you, but you no longer care and you no longer spend your time and energy on them. Wednesday, recognize that your enemy is not the cause of your suffering. The cause of your present suffering is not who you consider your adversary or enemy, or who you have problems with, rather. It stems from how you judge and perceive every situation that occurs in your life. It is not the actions of that person that make you angry or resentful. It is how you see and react that determines your feelings. In fact, it is the person, whoever she is, was helping you see what's going on inside. You shows you where you're thinking wrong or reacting emotionally unnecessarily Your enemy is giving you a chance to see where you're putting too much expectation or too much PTE for what you shouldn't have. An Epictetus that taught something very simple but powerful. It's not the events around us that make us upset. It's our judgments about them. It challenges the idea that external events have the power to disrupt our inner worlds. Instead, the way we interpreting these events shapes our emotional response to Epictetus. Even when something bad happens, the way we feel about it helps us to realize that our perceptions and interpretations play a key role in our emotional states. Epictetus believed that we have the power of choice in how we react to things, and this choice can make a huge difference. When you realize that what bothers you is not in the person or situation itself, but in your perception of it, you can change your reaction and develop a greater eon. It also requires a profound shift in perspective. Stopping blaming the outside world and taking responsibility for your interpretations and emotional responses. Instead of blaming others or nursing grudges, we can begin to ask ourselves questions such as, why did I get so hurt? Why did what someone said make me so angry or angry? Why did that person's actions make me so angry or angry? Why did that person's actions make me so angry or angry with my enemy as a mirror reflecting parts of you that may need attention? Examine how you feel about yourself and why it happened. Changing the way you see these people helps you change the way you treat them, and also helps you better understand yourself. This wisdom brings a new perspective. You begin to think differently when you recognize that your judgment is the key to your emotional state. This is the importance of this. Your judgment is the key to your emotional state instead of reacting automatically. You can develop a more balanced mind and the ability to react rationally and consciously. You can develop a more balanced mind and the ability to react rationally and consciously. In addition, this paradigm shift brings more ease and joy into your life. It can help you grow and improve as a person because you know that your strength and courage are not dependent on another, and you are no longer subject to the actions, mood, or respect of others, unlocking in a way. Huge potential for personal growth. Fifth, choose to be great. Forgive. Forgiveness is an act of greatness. It is like sharing resentments and desires a place to find peace within yourself. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to walk around the person who hurt you, or inviting them to stay in your home is a choice to release all anger, resentment, or grudges. Forgiveness is not about who hurt you. It is about not locking bad feelings inside your chest. It is not a sign of weakness, but a show of strength and nobility. By forgiving, you are showing that you are in control of your emotions and creating your own destiny. It is a rise in consciousness that involves accepting the reality of what has happened, whether you understand the reasons or not. When you, forgiven by pride, we close ourselves off to the world and create barriers that make any kind of reconciliation difficult. Forgiveness is a response to evil with kindness. Stoic Epictetus summarized the meaning of forgiveness. It is superior to revenge because it demonstrates kindness. While revenge reflects the wild nature of wisdom, emphasizes how forgiveness can transform lives since it is based on compassion and understanding of the enlightened spirit. When we think of a place, we are simply reacting by allowing others to control our actions. We remain, so to speak, a prisoner of the situation, always as a victim. But by forgiving, you release and regain your power over yourself. Transform the relationship with your enemies. Act with kindness, understanding, and kindness to bring about positive changes, both in the environment and in people's behavior. This new way of looking at problems encourages us to promote goodness even to those who try to harm us. It is not easy to show such generosity and act in such a way. So let me share this with you. Story. A very rich man decided to please a poor man on his birthday, a tray full of garbage and dirt. But to really humiliate that man, the rich man gave the gift in the presence of all his friends and subordinates. The birthday boy, in his naivety, accepted the gift with great joy and thankfully, and asked the man to wait a few minutes as he wanted to repay the same. So the poor man threw away all the garbage washed and then filled the tray, fill it with tea smai, and returned it to the rich man with a card saying, "We give the best." This story shows that you can't expect people to give what they don't have. Each of us has our own set of feelings and actions. Some may only offer a tray of garbage while others choose flowers. Choosing love over anger not only benefits the other person, but also helps us grow by expanding our vision and moral strength. In this story, the rich man tried to spread hate and negativity, but his actions didn't faze the poor man who responded with love and kindness. Just like we can overcome our primal instincts and choose to act with love and kindness. So you rise above useless arguments and fights by showing that you are not only part of the problem, but an essential part of the seventh look in the eye. The seventh strategy we can use to solve problems without fighting is to directly confront the problem. I like Dr. Mitt Murdoch's phrase that says, "I haven't done anything wrong and I want you to stop treating me that way." It's not about physical force, but about showing that you are aware of and do not tolerate certain behaviors. Of course, each situation is unique. If it's your boss, for example, the approach should be different. Clashing is not the same as fighting. It means being able to take a stand. If you don't show firmness, others may side with you. It doesn't mean you have to go to conflict. When you show that you won't tolerate the sun in silence. In most cases, the person understands the implication, and if you fight back once, people will use it over and over again. So it's important to be prepared to defend your interests when necessary, to focus on yourself. Calm and grumbling about every situation, liar being focused on yourself. Think of it this way. Every minute of your life that you spend thinking about who offended you or how things could have happened differently is a minute less for you. Sometimes we think that the one who offended us can be sorry and change their mind. But deep down inside, it shows man our value of acceptance must first and foremost come from us. No one will ever do it for you. Focusing on yourself means taking that responsibility and stopping worrying about the opinion and acceptance of others, especially those who don't like you. The posts remind us that we have the power to choose how we react to any situation, allowing us to make informed decisions in line with our values. Following these teachings, we are on a journey of self-discovery, overcoming ignorance, forgiving, and developing love, dropping the barriers that prevent us from achieving virtue, wisdom, and happiness. Ninth, control. You are the only one who controls your emotions when someone affects you. This happens because you allowed it to happen. No one has the power to destroy your peace. Take away your sleep mind, your smile. This control is completely yours. No one can hurt you unless you allow it. Because controlling your emotions is in your hands, it is hard to coexist with someone who wishes you harm for no reason. But understand this, that people like the serpent in the beginning of the video can't stand to see the light in others shows how you react to it. So it doesn't matter how many enemies you have. It really matters how many people you don't consider enemies and don't feel anger towards them. It doesn't matter what others think of you. It matters what you think of yourself. No matter how many people try to make your life difficult, it's not how much others don't like you. It's how you treat them. It's not about the bad wishes of others. It's about how you feel and how you treat them. You have the power to change things in your life, including how much you feel affected by your enemies. As Marcus Aurelius advises in the Reflection, choose not to be damaged, and you won't feel damaged. Don't feel damaged, and you won't be. And if you've read this far, leave a comment of gratitude so you can affirm your desire to change for the better. Thank you again for being here.